have just made it into France, Lyon to be more specific, and I thought I'd talk about Michelin, which I find to be one of the strangest companies out there. After all, it's a tire company which reviews restaurants. So I delve a little bit into their history, starting with the Michelin Man. Now this has changed over time. He's dropped the cigar and beer that he used to have, but because it was developed in the late 19th century, it remains one of the oldest logos in the world. And he was very recognizable worldwide. Very early on, for instance, when they started selling tires in England, a lot of posters portraying him as a sort of conquering knight were distributed across the country. Michelin started producing tires in the 19th century and of course benefited a great deal from France's colonies in Southeast Asia and the rubber production out there. But their treatment of workers was notoriously bad. So bad that in the 1920s, striking workers sort of helped start a nationwide anti-French rebellion in Indochina named Puriangbo. The rebellion was put down pretty quickly, however it helped strengthen the fledgling Communist Party in the region, and the tactics developed by both sides would help prolong the Indochina War, which started after World War II. Anyway, Michelin has always been pretty good at self-promotion. Well, promotion I should say. They, for instance, first of all started producing bicycle tires, and in order to gain more publicity, they helped organise and win one of the first ever bicycle races, the Paris-Brest-Paris race. And interestingly, who came in second was the British tyre manufacturer Dunlop. But this brings me on to Michelin's other activities, because in the early 20th century they started producing car tyres. But France had very few cars. I think at the time they only had around 3,000 to 4,000 cars on the road. So in order to get more people driving, they started producing maps. And these maps, as well as the guides, were intended to inspire people to go out and travel. And they were given out in large quantities for free. And Michelin's maps were some of the best in the world at the time, and I'm no cartographer, so I don't really know what makes a good map. But I say this because both France and Germany during World War II used the maps, albeit with the tourist routes removed. But I should add that they didn't really seem to be huge collaborators with the Germans, because after the war they also produced maps celebrating the routes the Allies took to liberate France. Finally, on to restaurants. So they started giving out the maps and guides, and they started reviewing restaurants again in order to get people to drive. So initially they would give higher stars, allegedly, to places further away, which would make people want to travel further, and hence this would boost car sales. And they were sort of pioneers in this, in sort of giving stars to restaurants. So they became the most prestigious institute out there, sort of by default.